How about love? Hey, what's going on? I just want to drop in and let you know that they have released the maintenance update notes. And there are some key things here that I do kind of want to just kind of drop in while you're waiting for the game, or, while you're kind of going into it. Namely, the big things here is that there are new augments. So I didn't mention this. I mentioned this in my previous video for those who keep up with my content. I mentioned this in my video when I was discussing the headline, I believe. When I was talking about the new alien regions and stuff like that, I mentioned I would not be surprised if there was new augments that came within this update. So if you keep track with my content, you keep track of my videos, and you've heard me mention this before, so you would have had somewhat of an idea that this was to be expected. These were not actually what I was expecting. Well, Grand Drake Keeper 2 was not what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting that. The other ones I was expecting. I was expecting something of those lines to appear, stat 5 items, because we knew that stat 5 items were coming. So you can expect to find these within, of course, you have Crimson Realm coming up and stuff like that. So you can expect to find these there. Of course, Grand Drake Keeper, we don't know the exact specifications for the requirements to make that. However, I did see before the servers went down that Grand Drake Keeper was unusually higher than expected, which means that people probably got hold of data leaks. So scalpers are probably at work already on that, which is usually the case. Don't know how I feel about that. Don't feel too great about scalpers and stuff like that. I think it creates I like it, like insider trading type scalping. You know what I'm saying? Especially that, where it's like, you're breaching, what's data leaks, not data leaks, there's a word for it, data mines, where you're doing data mining, and then you kind of having the jump on things so that you can manipulate the market. And yeah, I'm not too big of a fan on that. Y'all know that. I've expressed that before. But that's the case. That's what it is. That's what's happening. That's what's probably always going to happen with those data leaks, and even just like the pre-patches, because I mean, people can access the pre-patch, so it's going to happen. It's just the nature of things. But I apologize for people who just play the game. Me personally, I don't really care to run the game as a money simulator, as a Meseta simulator. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm gonna do that, then I just rather just, if I'm gonna do stuff with the market, just do it in real life. If I generally play games to play the games, not to stand in front of the personal shop all day and manipulate markets. But to each their own, right? To each their own. Because, anyways, that's neither here nor there. But we did have these augments, so that's what I did want to note there. So keep that in mind. But I imagine that the Grand Dread Keeper will need a Grand Dread Keeper to make the Grand Dread Keeper 2 or DK5s, and probably some augment, maybe from the new areas, from the raised level cap. So from Crimson Realm, maybe, or from, remember, the urgent quest also got raised in levels as well, so there might be some item in there. Of course, we'll have more detailed information on all this throughout the week and stuff like that, but just let y'all know ahead of time. Another one that I want to touch at here was the confirmed issues that we see here. So a bug and line strike where a match that was entered by selecting rematch ends. The system lock displays an error has occurred. They did address this. And then there's also some notable ones here that are going to impact people during the Mars system, which is a bug where the cooldown for some active class skills does not progress while using the special equipment Mars. So this is saying that this is giving you a heads up that some skills, such as overload or what like that, skills that you do where they have cooldowns. Sometimes some of these skills we don't know which ones in particular, but they will not advance. The timer will not decrease while you were in Mars activation mode. So do keep that in mind if that's happening to you. Understand that that is an issue that's already there, that they are well aware of, and that will be getting fixed in the future for sure. And then there's also a bug where some actions may become unavailable after transferring when accepting a quest in a different region with the special equipment of Mars equipped. And this is I think you kind of see this kind of happen in games all the time, where kind of small things like this tend to happen. But pretty much just swap to another weapon. If this happens, swap to another weapon. This is pretty straightforward. It's not really an issue. But if it does happen, let you know now. If it does happen, you fix that by just swapping to another weapon. That will fix the issue at the current time until they can, make it so that it doesn't do that. But that's not really that big of a nuisance. So, and then up here in the interface, I think that's one that some people might want to look at and address and be aware of, is that if your PSO2 casts body type 1 and type 2, then some of these changes to certain body types, is what they listed here, are not supported while upon Mars. So if you look at this interface section, you'll see some of these things. So pretty much like there's not going to be the fancy smancies if your PSO2 cast body type 1, PSO2 cast body type 2. But nonetheless, here on the interface, you'll see a handful of things, such as adding an option to easy photo mode so that it can be launched from the main menu under personal, and things such as added the success rate and category to the item details on augment capsules, which we already knew was coming for us. So be sure to just glance at that if you need to. And of course, you'll see down here that they did add some CVs as well to the ARX Record Badge Exchange Shop. There's no XOVER on there though, so hold your horses, y'all. I know a lot of y'all want that XOVER camo, the lightsaber. So, but there are some new CVs here nonetheless for you to get a hold of. But then up here, that's kind of more dealing with players and the system and quests and stuff like that. You'll see that for the foods, they did change it. They mentioned this. This was a question in the headline. So whenever you eat food at a Rooker, then if you put in input, then your character won't move. You won't go through the whole go in animation, right? You won't go through that whole animation. You can just move and then it'll exit the animation. For those who it was really a big deal to, so you can just instantaneously put food on, keep it moving. The boss camera was adjusted for enemies that are close, that zoom in on you. So if you play classes that are close, such as like Twin Daggers or like Knuckles, stuff like that, then on bosses such as like Bujin, you'll notice that the camera zooms in pretty heavily. So they have addressed this. This was also something that was requested and that they mentioned that they were going to address within the headline. So this has been addressed as well. In terms of quests and fields, they have made a number of changes to the Nameless City exploration, adding things to the certain quests in there, and also they have added the NPC communications for the trial for Drevis, which is the boss that's in Crimson Realm. So now, instead of like having to run over there, because a lot of times when you're doing Crimson Realm, you don't know it's the boss until you get there, and then someone calls out dog. So we know it's the boss. Whereas now they're going to have NPCs for this, so you're more than likely going to see the prompts for the NPCs, or you're gonna hear the NPCs. I'm not sure if it's like with Aina and Manon, where you can hear them all the way across the map, so it's them. So a PC burst is coming, right? But they did add that for Drevis, so that makes it a bit more easy to know when it's actually that boss, which is kind of important, right? And then the rest of the stuff you kind of just glance over. I really just want to touch on those specific ones, mainly the augments and the issues that you're going to have potentially with the Mars system and the PS and the cast body parts. So those are kind of like the main things I want to touch over. Rest of it, you can take a glance at it. Of course, the link will be in the description for this, so be sure to check it out if you want more information on it. But I pretty much covered what you needed to know here. So be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below. I'll see you on the next one. Of course, look forward to the next updates and to the next videos. Spike to content.